so much of what we're talking about. And I look at these photos, that was there in St. Genevieve County, and this one was actually shot
in Arkansas. That was, wasn't it?
Ozark Mountains with Pat Jackson.
Yeah. And this was back in the 40-acre club there in Bloomsdale.
Bloomsdale, Missouri. Man, and these were both, I think Stoltze shot, I know Stoltze shot that photo, and he shot these as well, if I recall.
I think this one, we had it set on a timer.
We set it, we took it ourselves. That's why the photo's so bad. But those are the original covers from King of the Spring, our first title, and the Sound of Spring, our second. We've had them matted and framed, and that's the actual covers.
It's rather embarrassing, really, to go back and look at what we looked like. I guess at the time we thought we looked all right, but I don't know, looking back at it.
It's embarrassing for our wives, Will and Tracy,
Yeah.
that they actually stuck around with these two ugly guys.
Monkeys, boy. Monkeys. You know, you remember the getting the videos edited and getting the cover work done. We actually traveled all the way to Jackson, Mississippi, did it down there with an editor down in that area, and didn't realize that we could have done it in St. Louis. At the time, we were looking for a studio that could edit Super VHS.
It was on Cuz's recommendation.
Cuz,
he was like, you got to go to VideoWorks in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
And we said, well, we must have to go there. So we went.
He and Will Primos as well. Wilbur had suggested using the same company, you know.
Yeah.
So it's amazing that here we're still affiliated with Mossy Oak from way back when, back in the 80s, and went down to their, really kind of down in their home core area to get a video edited way back then.
We used to sit and do the EDLs one piece at a time. And really, when we showed up with King of the Spring, we just showed up with a bunch of tapes and threw that thing together.
Yeah, that guy.
And I think then by the time we got to Sound of Spring, or maybe Longbeards of the Spring, whatever the third one was, then we started with EDLs. And at some point in there, we ventured back north and we found a studio in St. Louis, if I recall.
Right.
If I recall.
If you recall, we spent countless hours doing those EDLs, which was an edit decision list, and trying to get those ins and outs. We really didn't know what it was going to look like when it was done, when it was finished. And at that time, you know, it was a linear style of editing, which meant that we were laying it to tape. So when it went down, we got to proof it. But when it went down, we had one continuous tape. Where nowadays, everything is this nonlinear world where they can pick that hunt up and move it over here and drop it in by computer. Back then, we had to be a little bit more diligent.
It had to be right.
It had to be right.
If it wasn't right, it was going in anyway.
We didn't know till it was done what it was going to flow like. That was
Right.
the difference. You know, we didn't really get a chance to visit the entire production until it was finished. So we never did know what it was going to turn out to look like.
No, we didn't. And it has changed. We talk about so much has changed. Certainly the editing style has changed drastically. You know, it's still about the content, but now we have the ability to put so much more into it with the pictures of the deer we get and the wildlife eye we still get and all the different storylines that the guys send in each year. And we say we tell the wildest stories, and that's part of our business model, is being able to tell that story through the eye of the producer and then through the editorial staff here at Drury Outdoors.
A full title would take us about a week to edit in the studio, but that what it doesn't account for are the number of hours that we spent at night, because our edit decision lists, when we got done, we thought they were pretty accurate and we thought they were on, but we were going everything from the ins and outs of each shot down to the number of frames that we were going to use on the dissolve, whether it was a cut, whether it was a dissolve, maybe a 30 frame, a 45 frame, a 90, a 120. We used some of those long, slow dissolves to try and get double images up there. You know, it might have been a 180 frame dissolve. And when we first realized that we could do A/B roll, remember what a big deal that was for us?
We thought that was cool.
We thought that was awesome. Back then, you couldn't, a lot of facilities weren't capable of doing A/B roll, which was one channel to the next and being able to, maybe layer those on top of one another. But that was a big deal for us. We were just...
It was our first question when we called studio. Can you do A/B roll? No. Oh, sorry. We got to be able to do it, So, boy, how it has changed, because nowadays you've got crews going out with multiple camera angles and you never know which one they're going to grab and use. And, back then we'd fit, I always remember on a 60-minute or a 90-minute tape, we'd fit 3 or 4 complete hunts on that. And now when we go out and produce, we will have 4 or 5 1-hour full tapes, sometimes 8 or 9 per one hunt.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
so you may on average, I would say we would have 6 to 8 hours of raw to cut down to about 6 or 7 minutes of hunting. So it's probably about an hour per minute. That's
It's
crazy.
amazing how
It's
much it
amazing
has
how much gets left on the cutting room floor, frankly.
And shamefully so. That's the sad part. We have so much footage, really, that no one will ever see. A lot of it's funny, a lot of it isn't, a lot of it's just kind of hunting. It's just really hunting in general, and hunting the way you do. Most people now, really, because it is such a second-by-second world, they want to see things happen in a pretty quick period of time. So we're trying to cram as much information and as many hunts as we can in that title, where all of that hunting and those many hours that we spend in the field really kind of goes unnoticed, and nobody knows how many hours we truly spend. And it is countless number of hours that we've spent in a tree stand trying to kill one deer, rather less 2 or 3, but just trying to get one buck on video every year takes a lot of hours in a tree stand.